CountryWide CONNECT with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.
Associate Minister of Agriculture, Andrew Hoggard, also Minister of Biosecurity, Food Safety. Andrew, g'day, mate. Welcome to the show. Appreciate your time. You're on the farm today.
Yep, I was up in Taupo yesterday, just got back not too long ago, but then, first thing tomorrow morning, jumping on a plane down to Dunedin, so she's all on this week.
Did you have a duck shoot?
No, I went to watch my daughters shoot netballs through hoops instead.
Oh, fair enough.
Rather boring, but yeah.
Oh, don't say that out loud. Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, whoops. No, that'll come back to bite you.
One daughter had a win, the other didn't, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Hey, let's get on the serious stuff. Announcement this morning from your party, the ACT Party. I understand this is an ACT election policy. You've been the announcement. Empty bus seats, fix it. What does it mean? What's the policy here?
So the policy here is what we've had happen over the last year and a bit, particularly here in the Manitoba, other parts of the country, has been a situation where the rules have been strictly enforced. And so children, say from Opiki, just outside of Palmerston North, catching the bus into Palmy to go to college. Previously, they used to, whatever college they were going to, they could hop on that bus and then get to the college they were intended to go to. Now it's there's only a certain colleges you're allowed to hop on that bus for. If you happen to go to a different college, you're not allowed to hop on that bus. End result is now the bus isn't as nearly as full and parents are having to drive kids often behind the bus to get to school. And so our policy is pretty much, look, the bus is heading anyway. Got to fill it up with diesel to get from the country to the city. So let's just be sensible about it and practical and flexible and allow those kids to be on that bus to get to college.
Now, that just makes a lot of sense, and obviously it's frustrating that it used to happen. My question about that, though, is what's the responsibility of the bus to deliver the kid to the school? Does it mean that once the bus gets into the town, into the city, into wherever it is, they've got to drive around individual schools, or can they just drop them off and let the kids walk?
Look, I mean, that's something you'd sort of be flexible about and come up with things that work for each town. So how it used to happen in Palmy was basically you've got there's a number of villages sort of around the outside of Palmy. All these kids would basically hop on the bus from each one of those. They'd all go into the centre and then swap buses and then go to the school they're intended to. In some cases, you're having kids that effectively were supposed to go to one school and the other school was within walking distance. Now, look, we could have a policy where, either it's if the bus only goes to one school, then, hey, it's the parents' problem to solve on how they get them that last part of the journey. Maybe a bunch of parents come together and organise something. At the moment in Palmerston North, some of the schools are organising their own minivans to go all the way out to these areas to pick up the kids to then go to that school while a bus is running. So, I don't want to be too prescriptive, but I think there's a bit of flexibility and sensibility that can be applied to come up with solutions that work and burn the least amount of diesel.
Yeah, and if you're saying that this used to happen and the policy got changed, do you know why the policy was changed?
Look, I think it was just a view that maybe in some places there might have been a bit of piss being taken, as it were, to use a farming term, and they decided, right, we've got to go and strictly enforce the rules, and possibly, quite frankly, they just seem to have gone overboard with that enforcement and lost a little bit of common sense along the way.
What happens then if the bus fills up? Because, quite frankly, if there's a whole bunch of kids sort of get on first and the bus was designed to take kid X to school Y, get there and there's no seats or the bus is full, what happens then?
So, I mean, all I can go with the example we've got happening at the moment is this is how it used to happen. The bus, we had X number of buses heading in and, now we've got half empty buses or buses with a lot less kids on them. look, if you were needed to, and say there was in one of these villages outside of Palmy or any other city, suddenly more kids want to go to school, well, I would say the biggest cost is not enabling them to get to school. It's so important that we, as a country, our first priority needs to be, educate the next generation. The costs of not doing that are a hell of a lot higher than a bit of extra diesel or hiring another bus.
Yeah. Am I right in saying that the majority of cases, and this might be not right across the country, but certainly where I am, that it's one particular company that normally gets the contract for the school buses in that district, in that region?
There is a bit of difference from out all around the country, and I wouldn't be able to give you a total picture of how it works up and down the country, but I think it could well be. I know certainly here in the Manawatu, there's certain companies seem to get the contract for that area.
Yeah. Which means that company's already, as you're saying, that company is already contracted to pick up kids on a bus. It seems pointless that there's empty seats and they're driving past kids. Yeah. So
in most cases, if you use the example, like what I've seen around here in Manawatu, it's more about there is a bus stop in a certain little village, and basically the kids get there, they all hop on the bus, and then that bus basically goes direct in, or there might be a couple more stops on the way where they go into the town. They're not stopping at each individual house. And, at the moment, how it's been strictly enforced is you can only hop on that bus if you're wearing the correct school uniform.
This is Act policy. Are we talking about education policy here? I mean, it's not going to require an act of parliament or anything to change this, right?
No.
This is just
this is all sort of operational. So there's no legislation, no regulate. We might need to find, as we dig in, you might find there's some regulations like that might get in the way, but this is by and large an operational type situation.
What's the response been from your colleagues?
Certainly, look, I only just launched it an hour or so ago officially, but certainly when I was talking to caucus about it, they were like, yes, this is sensible. At CD Field Days, certainly had a lot of parents, because it's quite an issue here in the Manawatu.
Actually,
had a lot of parents coming and talking to us about it, and I was sort of saying, well, look, this is sort of what we're thinking. And for many of them, the sort of stuff we were talking about, there was parents that were saying, hey, look, can I just, can my kids still get on the bus, and I'll just pay some extra to get, if there's a whole bunch of us, our kids want to go to this college, if we just pay a bit extra, can that bus keep driving and to get to that college? But it was sort of a hard and fast no, the bus will only go here. So I think the feedback I've got from parents is yes, they would welcome this, and certainly that flexibility where if it's need be, they seemed happy to top up to make sure, because that was a hell of a lot cheaper than them having to drive the child into the school every day, particularly not only the cost but also their time.
Yeah. It wasn't just, I remember this, and I remember, I think you were having some conversations with some boys, actually, and I remember it's not just getting to school, it's getting home from school, getting buses available after sports training, and these boys or these kids were missing trainings and things, right? There's a whole lot to it.
That might have been a different conversation. I don't remember that one.
Okay, yeah, but there was certainly, it was talking about, there was discussions, I don't know who I was talking to, but there was discussions about that. This rule had become very, very inflexible, made it very, very difficult. All right. Hey, okay, we'll follow this one. Good rule, though. It's practical, just common sense, right? It's not very common, unfortunately, at times.
Yeah, and I think it's just about enabling us to be just a little more flexible, and, what works in particular areas in rural New Zealand, and that's sort of where we've got to approach it from, is to what's the outcome we want? The outcome we want is kids going to school and getting a good education. Okay, how do we achieve that without being too pedantic about how that comes about, because there's going to be, urban isn't like rural and vice versa, and so just got to have a little bit of flexibility there.
Exactly. All right, going to let you go. We were just talking to Campbell Parker about the foot and mouth exercise next week. You gearing up for that one?
Well, I hope Campbell is. He's in charge of that.
He is.
I will be. Where will I be? I'll be up in Auckland, unfortunately. Rather be on a farm watching it go down. But I look forward to the reports and how it all works.
All right, mate. Really appreciate your time, Andrew Hoggard there, talking about this ACT policy. Where's my bit of paper here? I think it's called. What is it called? What is it called? Are you still there? Open seats.
Open seat.
Yeah, open seats. Yeah.
CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.